Hi guys, so I'm generally a big fan of bitless bridles, but something came over me and I decided I must create a fantasy medieval inspired bridle. So follow me along on this long and tricky process of creating this small masterpiece. Let's get started. Firstly, I'm gonna need some thin leather, so I take my brand new cool super sharp skyver and I try to figure out how to use it properly. And honestly, I tell you, the skyver I had before was total garbage, but this one, it actually works, and I was surprised. Like, I've never had a working skyver before. I guess this time the price did make a change in it. Well, anyways, I tried to figure out how to use it properly to have not a large but at least a long strap of thin leather. And once I have this, we can start crafting with it. Something I figured out a while ago is that if I add glue to the bottom side of the leather, it actually helps to stiffen it and make it less prone to ripping. So I just added like a thin layer of glue on the underside and hope that it will make the leather more durable and easier to craft with. And I just spread it evenly. Okay, now I will make the bit because it will be the part that attaches to the horse. So I figured it will be the easiest to make it first. For this, I just wrap the wire around my needle nose pliers to create two rings like this. The wire is super hard to bend though, so I struggled with it a bit. That's why it's not in the camera. Sorry about this framing. And then I use what's it called? These small beads that you can press. Oh, clasp beads, I think. Yeah, I just put them on the rings to imitate the beat. Sorry for the horse. Well, I put them on each of the rings and then apply pressure with my pliers to make them sit in one place so that they don't move around. And I think you also need to make sure that these bead rings are at the correct size for your scale. They shouldn't be too large or too small, but measuring it, I think mine look great, so now we can move on to the next thing. So now I will gonna create the strap that goes around the horse's head here, and then here and here, from one end to the other. So to make sure it will fit, I will measure it around the horse's head, making sure to count enough length for excess, because it will need to have a buckle, so I need a bit of extra room. And then I mark more or less with my fingers how much I need. So now I can cut enough like this with my knife, and the idea is to cut a really even but thin strap of this leather. So I tried doing this with a ruler, but I found out that it's not actually much helpful, so I just do my best like that. And with the strap looking like this, I measure it around the horse's head again to make sure it fits completely. I am satisfied with its length, so I just take my pliers once again and some golden wire and move on to creating two little buckles. And these will be perfect to attach them on each end of this leather strap that I cut out before. And the way I do it is first I fold the end of the strap and I cut a slit in the middle of it. Then I weave the tongue of the buckle through the slit and I pull the rest of the strap through the buckle until it loops around it. And then I decided I want a keeper, or I think it's called a keeper, for the other side that goes through the buckle. So with a really thin strap of leather, I create a loop that I put around this wider strap. Like, I know it sounds weird, but well, I just put it around here and then I glue the rest of the strap on top of it so that it sits securely there. And it should be, we should end up with something like this, I guess. I obviously repeat this process on both ends of this long strap that we've had, and I'm already really proud how this turning out. I had a really good feeling about this bridle. So now we're gonna have to figure out a way how to attach these straps to these rings connected with the bit. And this will be done through small straps of leather again that will have punched holes that will go through the buckle. So of course we need to cut out a thin piece of leather that I fold in half to make 2 equal length straps. This will be shorter, but there will be enough. I take my needle tool and then I move on to making small holes in them that will allow me to fasten them on the buckle. And while I do this, I need to make sure to place each of the holes exactly in the center of the strap, so to prevent ripping when using the buckle. And it's really hard to not accidentally fracture the strap, so I need to focus really hard to place them right in the middle. But once that's done, it looks really neat. So I take the knife and gently shape the ends of the straps into sort of an arrow shape that will make it easier to pull them through the buckle. Next, I use a little bit of glue on the ends. Well, that does not look like a little bit, but it's hard to control the flow of the glue. I tap the glue down on the ends because it will help to stiffen the leather and make them less prone to breaking. And with my tweezers, I'm making sure that the holes stay open because we don't want to glue them together. Now my straps look like this and they will fit the buckles correctly. So I take the rings that are attached to the bit and glue them on the straps, or rather glue the straps on the rings. Now comes the part where we attach the bit to the other buckle on the longer strap. So this takes a bit of practice to get right because they are so small, and also sometimes you need the help of the tweezers. And then you can secure the rest of the strap on the keeper. And then I took this part to try it on the horse to see if it fits, and unfortunately it turned out, even though I shortened it as much as I can, the strap was still too long, and if I attached the second part it would be way too large for him. So unfortunately I had to redo this part again. And if you're wondering why I decided to redo it, is because my holes were too far up on the small strap. So now idea was that I will glue it on the ring first, like this, and then I will punch the holes also through the area where there is the double leather to be able to fasten it on the buckle really close to the bit. This allowed me to make this entire piece shorter, so hopefully it will fit the horse's head better. I really like how it looks, so I want to try it on the horse. This time I will use dentist wax to make sure that it sits in the right place and does not move, so that I can be entirely certain whether it fits or not. I just roll out a small ball of the wax and heat it up in my fingers to make it sticky, and I use it to attach the bit to the horse's mouth. Now the strap fits perfectly around the horse's head, so I'm really glad that I managed to solve the problem. Now, off camera, I made this small piece that is exactly like the first strap that we've made, but a bit shorter. It's literally just 2 buckles and a keeper. Well then, next I was really eager to figure out the middle parts that will go around the horse's forehead, around here. So for this, the entire idea that inspired me to make this bridle was this beautiful package of nail stickers. So I'm trying out different ones to decide which one I like most. So I'll keep this part short because it's not the last time I'll attempt to do this center jewel of this bridle. Generally I just try to cut it out the best I can, and then I created a ring from this golden wire with bits of chain attached to it, and then I tried to glue the nail sticker inside the ring, which was practically impossible. After a long time I ended up with this, but I wasn't completely satisfied. Well, anyway, I moved on to making another part of the bridle, which is the chin strap, or I guess it's called a chin strap. I used the shorter part that I made previously, and then added 2 other bits with punched holes in them to the buckle to create a nice area that will allow us to attach the jewelry piece to it. And now for a way to attach the other 2 chains. I cut some more leather, and I will use this to create loops that will go around the main piece of the bridle. Now the whole jewelry piece can be attached on the horse, and it holds quite well. Though you can see how terrible it looks. I actually hated it so much that I ripped it off at this point. So I chose another jewel from the nail stickers. I cut it out, but turned out it was a bit too large for the ring I made previously. So in the end I just trimmed off the middle part, and I decided to place it inside the ring with golden beads that give it 3-dimensional look and also help to make it more secure. And now it's time to make the reins. So in order to do that, I need to cut super even strips of leather. And using the same golden wire, I create 2 simple buckles that will allow me to attach the reins to the bit. Using 2 shorter, smaller pieces of leather, I can secure the buckles on top of the reins, which will allow me to create the loop that will go around the bit. Now I had to connect the both of the reins together, And initially I wanted to do it through a buckle, but turned out my reins were actually a bit too short for that, so I just connected them with a small piece of chain. And the last detail I thought about adding to the bridle are these tiny studs from the nail sticker sheet. I just cut them out very carefully and try not to lose any, because I figured they will look really good as miniature studs. So I carefully secured them on the bridle in places where the leather could use reinforcement if it were a real bridle. And with that, I say that this project is complete.
I got a lot to say at this age, so young yet so old. Remember when we hung out with all our friends? We know that changed with the age. Where'd all the time go when we were so close? Only God knows. All I know is everything, but I seem to forget. Questions asked and time has seen us past. Everything